Hey, this is Robert. Thank you for tuning in to Station Square. Hope everybody is doing well and staying cool from this heat, but you don't want to hear about the weather. Today, we have a very special guest here in the corner. She's been in the voice acting business for a very long time, coming from the olden days of Newgrounds, and
Oh gosh.
yeah, yeah, we're going back, man. But ladies and gentlemen, on that note, this is Kimlin Tran. Just
Oh,
had to
thank
start
you
off
for
with that.
having me.
Yeah, anytime. It's been so cool because, like, literally, as I was mentioning Newgrounds, it's like, yeah, that's kind of where a lot of us started, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's sort of like and it's still there. It's still there.
Yeah,
I mean, flash games are no longer allowed. Not allowed as in I mean like on the rest of the internet because Flash is kind of like obsolete. It's now HTML5 or something now. But it's like it's still there. They still have creators coming from Newgrounds who do art, animation, music, and they also have like really strong policies on there that are like, hey, knock it off with the AI, please. We like to have artists here.
exactly. Yeah, and I think for those of us that really do are from like the Gen X, whatever generation, it's like we also remember the old voice acting club or VAA
That one's
alliance.
still going
Yeah,
too. It's just that
yeah,
no,
it's
it's
still.
no longer a BBS forum, but now a Discord.
Yeah. So, yeah, on that note, I just wanted to thank you so much because this is something that I've been wanting to do for so long, but you know what? We're finally here today, and
Hmm.
yeah, just it's just pretty nice to just have a lot of like people that have been on my show just starting off from like the 2000s and so on and so forth, and just really doing a lot of big stuff since then, you know? It's just kind of it's just a fun little nostalgia trip for me, you know? But yeah, it's just kind of yeah. Just before I go on a little nostalgia rush here, tell us something that has been kind of well, sort of keeping you busy, or just anything that you're kind of the most looking forward to this year that you want to discuss. Like, talk about some of the stuff that you've been doing so far in 2025, if you can.
Like voice acting only, or are we talking about anything creative?
Well,
Because
just anything. Yeah, it doesn't have to be
oh,
specifically VO. Yeah.
well, there's so much I'm working on right now. And since this year, like 2025 or 2025 and this time as of 2024 and something like that.
Well, recently. Yeah, let's just say that.
Recently, okay, well, it's half a year now, but it's sort of like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. Okay,
I mean,
sorry.
we could go back
I will,
before like 24, so on and so on. Yeah, just the
yeah,
2020s. Let's just say
I
that.
know there are some it's sort of like, what is a year? A year from now, or just
Yeah.
this? But I've been working on VTubing, casting and voice acting and making stuff for VTubers. It's just busy. I just like creating, and it's sort of like I've been modeling in Blender. I've been making things for Vinyan and Warudo too, but whatever I can get my hands on and just work at, I just do the thing.
Yeah, just do the thing.
Do the thing!
Yeah, those who get it, you're my friend for life. But anyways, yeah, it's just kind of been the same. Like, I've just been doing a lot of auditioning. Like, I've literally just been auditioning even before I got on here. So you can probably imagine my voice is kind of a little shot, which is just the norm for me anyway. So, yeah, just doing a lot of the podcast or just being creative and just wearing different hats whenever I can and just see where it goes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Doing Foley too.
I'm sorry.
Foley, like sound effects.
That too.
It's sort of like doing your own Foley's hilarious. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it saves money, I guess.
It does. And it's sort of like, you know what? I want the right kind of bottle. I don't want to pay $5 for one bottle. I'm just gonna record a lot of bottle sounds.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, just get this like water bottle, just make some
And
sounds
then we
out of
get
it.
really specific about it, and it's like half empty or half full, and then we just keep going from there.
But isn't it life in general?
Isn't life like that?
Exactly. But yeah, I kind of wanted to know from you personally, like, out of what you've been working on this year so far, what would you say is kind of the most exciting for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Hmm. A lot of it I worked on before this year that came out this year, and there's stuff I worked on this year that I can't talk about because NDAs. Yeah. The one that came out like this year, as in 2024-ish, is probably two projects. One of them I did casting for is Locomotive, and another one I did voice acting for is Crow Country.
Okay, yeah, just really nice that you're still keeping, like I said, you're still keeping busy. Why did I just hit this? You're just still keeping busy and yeah, just doing a lot of casting, voice acting. But as somebody who has just also recently stepped into the shoes of casting, I guess, how would you say that the whole experience is like just being on the other side of the glass after doing a lot of acting for so long?
A lot of perspective changes because it's sort of like you don't just pick who's the best because it's not your project anymore. You're casting for other people, and you have to keep in mind what their sensibilities are, what options you're providing them, and you should be able to fight for people to get basically have a place in the room if you can. And that's a little how do I say this? It's sort of like, I like this one. Well, I don't like it that much. Oh, but really, the reason why I like this one is because reason. And that's what we try to do. And it's sort of it's very interesting because it's sort of like because we talk about all sorts of different things because it isn't so much as like, oh, I think this character has a barrel chest, so he should have a deep voice. They said no, they want this character to have a big barrel chest for their artwork, but they want a more meek kind of every guy kind of voice, no matter what. Because let's face it, we don't always sound the way we look. That's why there's voice acting. Sometimes they're like that in video games and animation and so on too.
Exactly. I mean, it's like you can have a character model, but never be. This is why I'm always like, okay, I'll just give them a take of what they think, what I think they want, or just give them a take of like, okay, this is something that I know just makes me just, I don't know, laugh or whatever, and then just submit those. And you'd be surprised how often the silly stuff that you end up submitting end up being the ones that they use for the final product. You'd be so surprised, man.
You never know. Because
Exactly.
it's sort of like there are some interesting auditions out there that sort of like, hey, here are all my selects, and they're all like, I don't like any of them, and it's like, oh, what do I do? And I'm like, okay, well, here's the rest of the audition files, and then they pick someone that works, but it's also like, I was like, huh, I overlooked this one. Interesting.
Yeah, it's that's kind of what happened on one project where I'm like, okay, wasn't sure if I was really fully a fan of this take, but then the more I listen to it, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe this kind of I can add a little something to this character that wasn't even in the script before. So that's why, like you said, you just never know.
Plus, there you can always direct them too, because just because they
Exactly.
don't have all the information, well, that's because they don't have all the information. Once you give them the information, then they can actually do the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But what would you say was something that you kind of really love or just cherish so much after being in the voiceover business for so many years?
Let's see. When I started voice acting, I thought I was gonna be I thought I would cure my shyness and my anxiety because I recently got diagnosed for an anxiety disorder, a generalized one. And I was really shy. But then I learned that acting is acting. You can be shy and still act. And then it's sort of like,
Oh no, what just
but
happened?
I have a heart
Oh
condition. I
shoot.
have physical.
I'm sorry, your audio cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gotta love tech
Can you hear
difficulties.
me? It's still recording. Can you hear me?
Just bear with us.
Oh no. Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me. Oh no.
No.
Oh boy. All right. Let's see what's wrong with it.
Well, I guess we're for
It's
podcasts
still
like this,
working.
something like this is always. Oh, yeah. I think
It,
maybe restart. Let me
yeah.
just stop the thing.
Where did we last leave off?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
hi. Should
Yeah,
we clap?
continue. Yeah. Alrighty, let's just
Three.
pick up where we left off. Yeah. All right. Three, two, one. Boom.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyways,
We'll figure
I
it
think
out.
yeah, you were kind of saying about like being in the voiceover for a while. Yeah, question.
What was the question?
I think it
Was the
was something that you cherish or just love so much about being in voiceover after so many years.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What happened was that when I first started voice acting, I was recently diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So I already have a mitral valve prolapse, so I have a leaky heart. But then I would feel tension that would just squeeze every time I got scared or anxious. So it's sort of like I thought if I do acting, it will go away. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Go get therapy. And I'm like, and I thought, well, I'm shy, so I can just act like I'm more charismatic or more outgoing and stuff. But it turns out that's not something acting can fix either. So it's sort of like a lot of it came from the inside, and it's sort of like that's what really came from, not from acting itself, but in the pursuit of acting, I did a lot of introspection, actually had therapy, and acting's not supposed to be your therapy, but it's sort of like it makes you ask those kind of questions, such as, what does it mean to be? You can't just sound like you're emotional. You have to be emotional. And
Yeah.
that's it makes you ask yourself questions like, if I can be this, what makes this other character them? Am I the character or am I still myself at the end of the day? So it's lots of big questions that are very creatively engaging. And I think more than anything, aside from learning about myself, I got to meet all sorts of wonderful people who taught me and had patience for me. I learned a lot. I got out of my shell and yeah, it's sort of like it's a very big creative world out there and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, babe, man. I mean, there's so much that could be said about it. I believe when you were talking about, okay, am I, because
Uh-oh, now
whenever
you're
we're, oh,
frozen.
geez, what is happening?
Is it your internet? I know there
um,
are outages maybe, but now you're back. Now you're back.
okay, yeah, it's just so weird. Like, I don't know what's going on with Zoom today, but I was just saying, when we were getting like we review something, right? And then we go into a scene, and pretty much a lot of this stuff is like, you go into the Meisner level method of acting, or just everybody is kind of, different when it comes to learning different styles. It could be like, okay, so maybe the Meisner is for me, or Alexander, or the Stanislavski, or so many different methods. Or we could just go with our own and just be like, okay, so I think this is something that kind of works for me, but I kind of wanted to bring my own flavor to it, if that makes sense.
I guess so, because the funny part is that the schools of thought are basically kind of like how do I say this? A name for the techniques. And it's sort of like I'm sure they give lots of techniques and lots of philosophy to it, but I don't know what they're called because I had to basically learn from doing because that is the experience. Experience isn't the gold and the treasure at the end of the battle, it's the act of battling.
Wow, that's a pretty good, man, that's pretty good. Yeah, because as I'm like thinking, because you know how we often say that it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey and the destination when it comes to act. It's like pretty much a marathon, and it very much does feel like it's one long, continuous marathon. The more you go, the more you run, then the longer it kind of goes, I guess. Like it's just a never-ending journey, essentially.
It doesn't end until you end. No,
Oh my gosh, dude.
this is gnarly now. No gang signs, just wave your fingers.
Oh boy, yeah, just man. Way to bring a sense of reality into this.
Oh no!
Jeez, but yeah,
This
I
can't be on YouTube anymore. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, right. We're gonna
Too
get canceled.
real.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yep. Good night. It's been nice knowing y'all. Peace.
Oh no! Gonna get demonetized. Oh no, the algorithm's gonna get us.
Yeah, they promoted like dark subject matters. Oh no, what is this world coming to?
No, you can't say the I mean,
You cannot
unalive
say,
word.
you can't say that word.
You can't say unalive. You had to bleep me out. I'm sorry. I
You
gave you
gotta no. Yeah, don't give people ideas. I'm kidding.
I'm
But
sorry.
anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, so about the topic of like, techniques. I think I kind of wanted to ask you, like, because I know you've worked with a lot of different coaches, teachers, and mentors over the years. Who would you say were the ones that were very instrumental for voiceover, or just life in general?
That's funny because it sort of like a lot of them brought something different to the table at different parts of my life. I mean, let's see. Like, I know that when I learned from April Hong, James Hong's daughter, I I took not scene study to another level. It wasn't so much as imagine what's on the screen and copy what's on the screen. It was a lot of you are there. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? That thing happened over there. Will it affect you? That kind of stuff. Very specific things. Scene study, script study, that kind of thing. Then it's sort of like I remember I was going through something really rough and I was over rehearsed with my lines. And Crispin Freeman said, "You need to live life more. Like, make mistakes. You
Yeah.
keep putting a map in front of you. You're over rehearsed." He didn't say that, but he might as well have. Life has no map. And it's sort of like, wow, that's deep. And I said, I'm looking, and then every time I met him, I was like, I'm looking for my place in the universe. And he says, your place is here. And I was like, what? And he's just like, you're right in front of me. Your place is here. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, trust
But
me.
there's so
Yeah.
many more teachers that I learned little bits of pieces at a time. I think it was Zach Hanks and a few other people who brought up things like I forgot what the technique is. I forgot if it's Stella Adler or Meisner or something,
One
but
of the two. There's so
it's very
many.
I know, I don't know the names of the techniques, but am I still coming in?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. The technique is basically the moment you're on stage or you're in the role of the character, you can be yourself. The audience already has the suspension of disbelief. So they think you're the character. You just be yourself. But who am I? Who am I myself? You are the character. What? And I'm like, it got a little mind gamey, but think of it, but a way I put it that's different is sort of like you are yourself in every different universe. You're still you, just that you in this universe has different circumstances going on that are affecting you. So people can say you can't be method and be like, oh, you have to be a fairy. How are you going to be a fairy? How are you going to be a dragon? How are you going to be an alien? And it's sort of like, well, in this universe, I am one. Done. Okay, save you time. And that's one of the techniques that I think I first got an idea about it from Zach Hanks, but from there, everyone gave lots of different feedback about it over the years, and I tweaked it here and there to make it more me.
Yeah. It's just sharing a lot of deep advice, man. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, acting is very deep. It
I
is. It's
mean,
very
true.
nuanced.
Yeah. We're all just we're improvising through life and nobody knows if we're really faking it or if we're really making it.
That's a cool thing because another few good teachers I've had. I mean, I had improvisational comedy from my I forgot his name. This is so terrible, but it's sort of like he was at a community college. His background is that he used to work for soap operas. Now, let me preface this. Soap operas are no joke to film for. You have to memorize whole scripts in a day. whole scripts and film it in a day. Each show, each episode is done in one day, next day, another episode, next day, another episode. So that means if you're working on a soap opera schedule, you are no slouch at all. And he was like that. He was teaching us that about how to be more spontaneous, how to just actually not hold back, not over rehearse things like, oh, this will be funny. No, you actually have to see the comedy in things that just are. And from there, I think Crispin Freeman brought in people who specialized in improvisational comedy and said that, hey, improv is in everything. You live life with improv. It's the difference is sort of like it's not funny, or it can be, but it doesn't have to be. So you have to bring spontaneity and a life to your reads instead of just trying really hard to sound good. You actually are good, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do you think I've been doing for like the last 20 years? uh,
Ah!
yeah. Yeah. Just definitely not calling out everybody right now. So, yeah, but it's really good that, man, I don't think not even I knew this about soap operas where it's like, so they have to read, yeah, because I know how strenuous the schedule can be, but I didn't know that like, oh yeah, you got to memorize everything in a day and then just shoot it in a day, just one, two, done, and moving on to the
I
next.
mean, sure,
Yeah,
you have multiple takes, but you still have to get it done because you
get
don't
it
have enough
done.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
sort of like, how do I say this? It's sort of like I worked on several projects that have a soap opera schedule, and I was like,
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it, but it's sort of like it's
Mm.
already known already. I spoke about it on other interviews and I didn't get yelled at for it. But I did ask them and I'm all like, hey, as soon as the episode's out, can I talk about this? And they said, sure, back in the day. And I'm not sure if they'll get upset, but I worked on a project that had a soap opera schedule and I had to record it overnight. And then the next day, the episode was up on YouTube. And that's like normal, right? But we're talking about a multiple actor cast, an entire cast, not recording ensemble, and everything has to be synced to picture next day. And then that's sort of like, okay. And then you have simulcast for anime, and it's sort of like,
Oh my God.
oh,
I
this will
was
be
just
up in a
about to
few
say,
days. And I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I have to get this. I know I get more work because I'm recording by the episodes, but not by the volume of the DVD anymore. And it's sort of like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
We are you available now? Yes. Good. Come in and
Exactly.
record. And we're like, okay. Hey, are you available now? No. Too bad. Someone's replacing you. What? For an episode. You're coming back and you're gonna
Yeah.
re-record it for the home release. And I'm like, okay.
Sheesh. Yeah. I think it's kind of like the same as like if you're doing like one of those film festivals or plays where you have to literally do get everything done in a day and then the next night or so then is opening night and yeah, it's just like I've also worked on a couple of different projects that are like, oh hey, you got cast as this part. Okay, you want to get this done in like 48, 72 hours. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And then one time it was like, okay, you got cast, now record this in like an hour. And it's like a long monologue. Okay.
Oh, it's sort of like I know in my case, it's sort of like depending on the project, sometimes I'm all like, okay, my time is worth something too.
Exactly.
So, rush fee. Yeah. Are you working right now? No, then I can also not work. That kind of thing. If you're not
Yeah.
working, then I don't have to work right now too. So kind of like people are who mistake availability, free time for availability. So it's kind of like, hey, I have work hours too. Don't make me do overtime unless you're paying for it.
Seriously. Yeah, I just realized it's been like 30 minutes and I haven't even talked about something. The stuff that
I'm
you've
so
actually.
sorry.
No, it's fine. We're just kind of talking about deep philosophical stuff, but I haven't even talked about any of the work that you've actually, done over the years, which you kind of, to be fair, you kind of talked about it in a lot of different interviews. So,
A little bit. I mean, I could just say, hey, Ghost Giant, when I was voicing for Louis, it was really challenging because I was just being myself and I touched a really raw nerve and I was crying during the session when we were doing the scene where they took his mom away. Big spoiler, but the
oh,
game's been out for a really long time. And it's sort of like, oh yeah, I was crying as Fidget because the thing is sort of like when they did the scene with the water running. And then we're like, what do you mean water running? The game's been out for like 15 something years. You'll know what I'm talking about. And then it's sort of like, oh yeah, Coco, from Pokemon Secrets of the Jungle. Why is that a challenge? Um, well, I had to do that during a lockdown, so I had to record a whole movie from my room and also be like, "Oh yeah, everything keeps going wrong with the recording and I have to be organic and then I have to match flap and follow the rhythmo band and then I have to be emotional and spontaneous." And there's a part where my dada goes through something terrible and it's sort of like, "Oh no." So it's sort of like it's creatively challenging and fulfilling in different ways. Like, oh, you have to be, this is too raw. How do I make this like not like a broken take or something like that? Like for Louis, I was just like, did I get it? Or do I have to record it again and lose the spontaneity? And then I said, okay, yeah, you got it. Okay, good. And then it's sort of like for Coco, it's very much a case of like, yeah, you have to ride the gain and make sure it's all on the recording, or else it won't be good. And I had to do that from my home. It is fine. Kiss your sound engineers if you're ever in a studio or something. I don't know. It's sort of like some get mad if you talk about it, but I'm all like, do you want me to congratulate you or not? So,
Yeah, we could we could just discuss about like lockdown or just the. I mean, specifically just recording during lockdown is like, man, that could be like an episode in of itself, honestly.
oh my gosh, yes, I have a picture of my messier room
Oh,
during
really?
when I was recording Beyblade, an entire season of
Oh,
Beyblade from my
oh
room.
yeah,
I'm not sure if they ever
yeah.
shared that picture, but I recorded Beyblade, one season of Beyblade from my rooms. That's like 1 year, at least 1 year. And it's sort of like they actually told me to get a different setup because my laptop fan was too loud. And I was like, okay, fine. I
Yeah.
have to get a, I have to, they said, yeah, you can't continue for this show if you don't get the right equipment. You have too much room echo. Room echo! And when you go, let it rip!
Yeah,
And it's
let
like,
it rip!
let it rip! And they said, okay, fix your stuff and then we can resume. And I'm all like, okay, I fixed my stuff. It was surprisingly cheaper than I thought because all I needed was a new monitor, get my laptop over there, and then just don't have a laptop fan next to the microphone, and it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I might be recording outside of my large echoey room, but at least I got this behind me, so I could just leave my computer out here so you don't hear the fan. And yeah, I guess now the challenge is like, when's the best time to record? Because you gotta have that AC running during the summer.
Oh
And
yeah, oh my
neighbors.
gosh. I don't know how people do it in studios and they keep the rooms cool, but how do they do it without being all like I mean it makes you think, right? I mean,
Especially like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but especially if you're near a freeway. Like, I don't know how you do it.
some people are near airports. Some
And
people are near
airports too.
airports.
I'm sorry?
Some people are near airports.
Yeah, that too. Or like they're near like training bases, which I know people that are kind of, in the area where there's like a lot of, helicopters and
Or
airplanes just
helicopters. Some people are near theme parks with fireworks every
theme.
night. At
Oh
least
my
you can
gosh.
schedule around it, but it's also like every night the fireworks go off. Or you have a dog next door who will bark during your auditions at the last minute, and we're like,
Oh no,
why?
that used to be a problem with me, but luckily though, I have neighbors that I don't know if they even know what I do, but luckily I'm in a house where, people inside my family knows that this is what I do. So if I'm like recording, I'm just like, okay, like this is my hours. You're gonna have to endure it for the next several like hours or so.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works for our family too. We're just like, did you know that when I started voice acting, I had to hide that I was voice acting? Yeah, like
Yeah, a
because
lot
I
of
was
us
in
had to.
school. I was in high school and my parents didn't want my grades to suffer. So I had to pretend that I was doing homework and then when they weren't home, I was auditioning or recording. And then the secret got out the moment they started getting checks in the mail. So,
Okay, I'm sorry. You were mentioning this. This reminds me of like when I used to be in like, I don't know, elementary or doing homeschool or something. I would just practice and they don't really know that this is something, they didn't know that this is something that I was going to be doing. And then, well, it wasn't really a secret when I first actually started voice acting, but I remember that the times where you have to sneak in and pretend that you're doing homework, those are the days where I would just goof around on like YouTube and Newgrounds and just watch flash animations and just mimic the voices. And then if I'm staying up too late, I would just get in trouble. So yeah, this is back when curfews were. I mean, technically, you have to self-discipline yourself now with what time you go to bed, but yeah, this is back when they have to place curfews of what time you need to go to sleep because you have school the next day. So yeah, fun times. And then if you don't do it, then they discipline you. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, those are fine. But hey, look, look, it's kind of nice to just joke around of like, some stuff that happened and then just channel it. I don't really personally recommend like method stuff, but it can be therapeutic if you're just turning, just the bad stuff into, and then just make it and turn it into gold just in your art is what I kind of picture it as. Kind of a weird way of phrasing it, but yeah, take it or leave it.
Hmm. It is therapeutic, but remember that you still have to match flap sometimes. So just because
Exactly.
you can get
Yeah.
out of your system doesn't mean it's just done.
Yeah. I mean, it can be really difficult if you're doing anime, especially, and especially if you're like doing it one by, just one actor at a time, and also having to listen to the other actor that you're reading with too. So,
Hmm.
e- let me see. Because you mentioned Beyblade, Fidget. So I actually kind of wanted to share with you of how I actually first discovered, your voice acting. If you know, oh no, it was just kind of like I'll just probably share like how I kind of discovered, your voice acting work if that's cool with you.
Oh, because I was like, you stopped mid-sentence. I was like, did we break up again? I was
No, I
like,
was
I
like,
wasn't sure if
no.
it was Newgrounds or Fidget or what. What you can talk about it.
Yeah,
Go,
sure.
go show.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Seriously, Zoom, man. But uh I'm pretty sure it was Skullgirls or Fidget, one of the two.
One
Yeah.
of the two. I do know they came out close at the same time, but here's
Yeah.
another fun story. I auditioned for them both, and I got cast for both of them on the same day.
Wow.
Not this. Fidget had lots of rounds of callbacks. Skullgirls was kind of like a audition once, and eventually I got cast. But I got the call from both Christina for Skullgirls and Devin for Thus
Ah,
Elysian
damn
Tail same day, almost within an hour of each other. I was like, what?
it. Huh?
And I
Yeah,
didn't know how popular they were both going to be, but wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
dude, like, okay, especially with the case of Dust and Elysian Tail, because you have a heavy hitter all-star cast, and a lot of them, and this is something that Devin actually told me a long time ago, most of them had never even done voice acting prior to, like, Dust. Yeah, and a lot of the ones that you kind of hear were like, most of them were just still very new to the voice acting scene, and this is kind of like their first major video game that they ever booked. And I will say that a lot of the performances really do hold up very well. But like I said, it's a game that came out like years ago. So it's
It's
just
a
kind of
time
like an example,
capsule now.
time capsule. But it's just kind of like an example of something that it's like, I mean, in a way, you could kind of see Cowboy Bebop. It's like, okay, well, it's just something that they're still trying to find their niche, but it still is a very like revolutionary show, even to this very day. So there is a charm to it. And you got to remember, with the time that it was made, like a lot of us were just still getting our start, and a lot of us have since moved on to a lot of really big stuff. So I'm just really happy for everybody involved.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
glad. I'm glad
yeah,
you enjoyed.
exactly. And there's more to share, but we'll have to rejoin and continue in part two. Not sure how much longer it's gonna take. So stick around, and I'll just see you in a bit. Peace.